Hello, everyone. Welcome to League Review. I'm your host, William, and if you're wondering where we were the last 2 days for the last two Rift Rivals podcasts, my power went out. So we just got power back today, and that sucked. Could not actually. We did get power back last night, I should say, but it was already like midnight, and I'm not no, no podcast tonight. But yeah, so we did have power for the last 2 days. So I was staying at my cousin's house and we were just playing some games there. I brought my computer. We played some team fight tactics and some other stuff. But that's why there was no podcast. Unfortunately, the LPL did lose Rift Rivals, but that's okay. I think Fun Plus Phoenix did show up. They did beat Griffin. We did get to see that matchup. And I think that top actually struggled a bit, but I think it's going to be a nice learning experience for them as that's their first time, at least in my memory, of them going to any international tournaments. But with that, let's get right on to this week, which is going to be a very short podcast because there are no LPL games until Friday. So just like the other podcasts that we've done with Rift Rivals. Rift Rivals has messed up the entire podcast schedule. I'm glad it's done, out of the way. We can get back to a normal set. But unfortunately, there is no LPL games until Friday. And on our Thursday podcast for LEC, didn't realize the LEC had the week off. So there won't be an LEC podcast this week because we already did our predictions and everything for that last week. So moving on, we will go briefly over our power rankings. There is not a lot of change at the top, and we'll get into why. You'd think because there was a lot of upsets last week with or 2 weeks ago, and we went 9-3 in our predicts and 23 and 36 out of game predictions. So we are now at 36 and 16 on the year, and that's about a 70% pick rate. And I don't know what this is. So let's see, 53 divided by 63% of the time we get. So we pick right 70% of the time, and 63% of the time we have the correct game. So we're doing really well in the LPL. Let's not talk about LEC or LCS here. Not even 500. Halfway through the season. Okay, let's get into the power rankings. First up, Fun Plus Phoenix. As we also have the standings over here. I've updated them finally. I've been getting really lazy about that, so I decided to do that before the podcast. Fun Plus Phoenix hasn't lost yet. They've lost a few games, 2 games I believe, but they haven't lost any series, and they just look really good. They looked really good at Rift Rivals as well. They did drop a game to Kingzone, but outside of that, they beat Griffin, and they just all around are still definitely the number one team. Haven't lost a series yet. You can't really fault them. With the number one team in the regular season last split, obviously going to stay there. Same with top 5-1, looking really strong. Same with RNG. Those three teams, I think, are easily the top three teams. Now, where you might be weird or confused by me having IG, LNG, both staying at their spot when IG actually, lost their game to JDG, and LNG also lost as well to, I believe, Rogue Warriors, if I remember correctly. Schedule really quick. Let's pull that up. But because everyone, LNG, Sunning, EDG, and IG all lost last week at one point or the other. So just move this here, boom, like that. Okay, so let's see. Week 5. Yes. LNG beat LGD, but then ended up losing the Rogue Warriors. Who I had Rogue Warriors as my 16th team coming in, so that's a really bad loss. Same with EDG losing the Rogue Warriors, and they beat LGD, so they had the exact same week as LNG. And since I had LNG, I did drop EDG because they were lower in the rankings. Like, I guess that's a little hypocritical of me now that I think about it. They dropped one position in my rankings, and it's mostly because I moved Billy up. Billy did lose to TES, but they actually did beat Sunning, who I thought played very good against IG, brought IG to 3 games. Sunning, however, dropped. That's basically what happened. EDG got caught in the middle of the Sunning Billy situation, where Billy I had at 8 last week, Sunning I had at 6, and Billy goes and beats Sunning. I wanted to put Billy ahead of them because I believe they are at the exact same record, and with the head-to-head win, yes, it's the exact same record with the head-to-head win. I think they deserve to be ahead, and unfortunately EDG was caught in the middle of that. Billy moved up, EDG just happened to move down. And I don't think Sunning's losses to IG and Billy is as bad as EDG's lost to Rogue Warriors, like just flat out. Even though they did win, I've had some issues with EDG lately. I don't think they're playing. They started out the season super hot, one of the best teams in the world I thought, but they've gone ice cold pretty much. The win against LGD was nice, but they were on a 3-game losing skid before that. And LGD is again not the best team at the moment. JDG moves up to number 9 with the victory against IG. I believe JDG, let's see, is now on a 4-game winning streak. Let's see, yeah, no, 3-game winning streak. They are 3-3 now in the season, but they have won their last 3 after starting out 0-3, and they're just on the rise. I believe I had them like 15th a few weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago, and now they're moving all the way up to number 9, looking very strong. They are number 9 in the standings as well, conveniently, but they're looking much better. And they had an okay performance at Rift Rivals. It wasn't great per se. They beat up on the LMS and VCS teams, but anyone did that. They didn't win a game. Next we had Victory 5 drops down to number 10. They had just one loss, and it was against FunPlus Phoenix. Nothing too bad. The only reason they dropped is because JDG has moved up on them for beating IG 2-0. That was the only reason that Victory 5 jumped. Because if you lose to FunPlus Phoenix, it's usually, especially they took a game. They're one of the only 2 teams to take a game off FunPlus Phoenix, and they looked really good doing it. So I thought that was pretty good. So it's a drop, but it's not too bad. LGD is dropped because they lost both to Li Ning and EDG. 2 tough opponents, so I can't drop them too far with where they are at. Believe LGD is in 13th place at 2-5. Very bad split, especially with the issue of Condi and stuff. No. Yeah, with Condi and stuff, it's just a mess, I think. Oops. Next we have Rogue Warriors, who have skyrocketed all the way to 12. I believe they've been at last place for almost all of my. I think I had Victory 5 for like the first 2 weeks, and then they started winning, and then Rogue Warriors has been in last place since, and they just have not looked good all year until our last 2 weeks ago, where they pulled off not 1 but 2 victories. Not only that, they were the first 2 wins of this, our total wins, like 4 wins, I should say, of the split. They had not won a game until this week. So that was a relief for their players, I bet, to finally get some wins, because they made some changes. They got Haru on the team, and people were saying that they're going to be a playoff team. I believe it was Raz was saying they're going to be a playoff team, but I disagreed with that from the beginning. But I just didn't think Haru was enough for this team. I thought they need more of a veteran leadership, a little bit more so than Haru is, because they had all the rookies, and they still have all the rookies. Or I guess they're not rookies anymore, but young enough. But yeah, I liked what they did. They took down. Not only did they win 2 games, so 2 series. It wasn't against like Vici and OMG. It was against EDG and LNG. I mean, we've had some issues with EDG, but like EDG is still a very good team, and LNG has been a fantastic team right out the gate. Next, we had Team WE. They've fallen again. Team WE. I have them ranked 13th, but they are 1-6 with 5 wins. They are winning games, so they've had 3 series of their 3 of their 5 or 3 of their 6 losses have gone to a best of 3. They're just not closing the door on them. Dominius. They stayed at 14. They finally picked up their first win of the split. They had only before that game they had only won 1 game all split, so they were pretty much on the same boat as Rogue Warriors. Stunning from this team being a top 6 team last split in the summer split. They just look terrible this split. They really do, and it makes me really sad. I really like this team last split and was all for them making the playoffs. I had originally picked that, and just the whole year they've looked really bad. And I thought maybe they just started out with a really tough schedule, which they did. They did. They had EDG, IG, Li Ning, as you can see, Sunning, top. So they've faced all the top teams. Like the teams that they've faced are in the playoffs. 1, 2. So they faced 3, 4, 5, and then the worst team they faced is IG. Like, in standings wise, if the worst team you face is IG, that's a tough break. So they've literally faced IG, Sunning, EDG, LNG top. So right here, this clump. They haven't faced the top two teams, but they faced that and then Vici. And were able to take down Vici. So that's good. So the rest of their schedule is going to be very easy outside of Fun Plus Phoenix and RNG. They're only going to have Billy and lower. So they should absolutely be able to pick up wins. Their season is still recoverable, but they need to pretty much win all these games and win out, which sounds harder than it should actually be outside of these two. They don't have to win these two games. But if they can win the rest, they might be able to squeak a playoff spot in at the very end. Maybe. It's going to be tough already at 1-5. They're 3 games out halfway through the season. Finally, OMG, they just lost, and victims. They lost to RNG. That's not a big deal. But victims of Rogue Warriors moving up, people had to move down. And Vici again. Vici. I put this team at like 12th place to start the year because in spring split, this team just needed a few wins. They got to the best of 3. They got to game 3 almost every single series. This year, they're not even doing that. They've gotten to 3, so they got into half of their series. Best of 3. So they're still sort of doing it, but they haven't come up with a single series win yet. Already 0-6, and Vici hasn't necessarily played the toughest opponents. Dominius, who's number 14, JDG, who is number 9 at the moment, but they're still 3-3. RNG and Sunning are good, and Top is good, but Victory 5 is also bottom. So they did half their opponents have been. So they played half and half. I thought it was a little bit less than that. I think I was putting Sunny as a lower team than they are now, but so it's not like they're facing all the top teams though, like a Dominion situation. They still got to face like Fun Plus Phoenix and LNG and EDG and IG and stuff like that. So it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough season for Vici, but I think their fans are used to that at this point. With that though, that's our power rankings. So let's move straight into predictions, and then from there we will be done with the podcast since it will be a very short one this today. I was gonna say this week. But I guess that makes sense too. Because of, like we said, only 6 games instead of the normal 12. So on Friday, we have July 12th, is JDG versus Team WE. And JDG is coming out of Rift Rivals. Didn't show off too much, I'd say. But Team WE is coming in desperate with a 1-6 performance so far this year. 5-12. JDG's coming off a victory off of IG, coming home from Rift Rivals. I think JDG gets it done. This game is a potential upset. I think there's a few potential upsets this week, especially on day 1. But I think I'm not sold enough on Team WE to be able to take down JDG. So I think JDG will win 2-1. Dominius versus BLG, I think, is also an upset alert. I think that Dominius maybe finally got that monkey off their back with that victory against IG or Vici, even if it is Vici. I think that just getting the victory is all they needed, kind of like a 100 Thieves situation where they were able to put a string of 3 wins. It looked fairly good in their 2 games that they lost this week against TSM and TL, but that's NA. But Dominius, I think, is going to be in that same situation. I will pick an upset. It might be my biasness towards this team a little bit, but I really do think that they will be able to take down Billy in a 2-1 fashion. I think it's going to be close, but I do fully believe that this is the upset. Both these series, I think, could be big upsets on day 1, so expect that. Fun Plus Phoenix versus Vici Gaming. Not Vici Games, not even taking them 3 games. That's the opposite of look out for an upset. Team's 7-0 and team's 0-6. I guess that would be a huge upset, but that's not gonna happen. No way. Same with IG and OMG. I guess these 2 teams are actually only like a game and a half apart standings wise, but I think IG is much better than OMG personally, so I think IG should be able to take care of business. Rookie's back, Baolan's back. They're gonna have the whole crew together again. They're shaping up. They're shaping up for a strong finish, I believe, at the end of summer split. Next we have Lining versus EDG, both losers to Rogue Warriors last week, not split. This game, you could argue this is game of the week or the next game of this day with Top Esports versus JDG. I would say this one's a little bit closer, personally. I think that obviously it's 4-5, but I think these two teams are very, very close. Lining and EDG started out really hot and has cooled down tremendously. Lining also started out really hot and they cooled down. They lost to Billy Billy in a 2-1. I wouldn't say they've cooled down necessarily. They did get upset pretty bad, the Rogue Warriors. So I'm curious to see what their mental is after coming off a loss like that. EDG's coming off a win against LGD. I'm putting my faith finally in EDG because Li Ning is the brand new upstart, formerly known as Snake, but upstart team that's no one expected to be up top here. EDG kind of people expected, but not too much. But I think that I'm worried for leaning. I think me and Idol talked about this a few weeks ago, where we don't have a full confidence in leaning being able to stay up here with the top dogs necessarily. It's kind of like an optic situation in NA, where I think they're good, but they're. I think Linding's more at the end of the split going to be a 6 to 7 seed, not a 4 seed where they're currently at by the when the whole split is done. Where EDG, honestly, they've looked really bad, so I can't say this for sure. But if they play like they did in the first 2 weeks, they could be a top 4 team easily, and that's why I think they're going to get back to that. Where I think Linding has a little more. Linding has played a little more above their potential, where EDG's playing below their potential right now, in my opinion. So I think that everything gets back on track. A 2-1, very close game or series. Next, we have Top Esports versus. Dang, my nose itches so bad. Top Esports versus JDG, and Top Esports is just JDG's coming off 3 games, and I have them winning game number 1. So that would be a 4-game win streak with JDG. Top is coming off with only 1 loss on the entire split, and that was against IG. So their last 2 victories were against Team WE and Billy Billy. Billy Billy's a solid pickup win, or Team WE not so much. Top is coming. Oh, they're both coming off Rift Rivals. If Top was the only one coming off Rift Rivals, I might cause this an upset, but unfortunately, JDG is also coming back from Rift Rivals. So I think Top should be able to handle this. I don't think Yagao is. I think he's the weaker of the 2 Dumpling brothers. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much known. Zoom is the better one, but I think Zoom won't be able to take down 369 as much as Knight will be able to take down Yagao. I think I made that exact same assumption in the Rift Rivals. I don't remember against which team, but it worked out terribly. But Top, I think, will be fine enough to handle JDG. I think their bot lane is stronger. Even though Imp played out of his mind against IG, I think that Loken is a little bit better than Imp overall. I think that Knight will be able to carry Top through, and I just see Top being the better team overall than JDG. So I think it will be a 2-1. I don't. I put 2-0. I put just 0 actually. I don't know why this is like that. What? That is weird. It's doing it like that. Interesting. But yes, we'll just leave that like that for now. Thank you guys for coming to watch, though. That will be all of our podcast for today. That's all of our picks. We will have the LCS podcast tomorrow, and we'll have all the podcasts except LEC on Thursday. But we'll go back to regular schedule for all of them, including Wildcard, who's been cut off the last 2 weeks, unfortunately, because of Rift Rivals. But everything go back to normal. Rift Rivals done. Let's finish out the summer split strong. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night.